feelings that I experienced that I couldn't shake were a mixture of many things. I was silently sad and teary, anxious. I felt hopeless and bad about myself. Whilst I was surrounded by loved ones, I felt alone, isolated, exhausted, guilty and angry. I thought that my problems were too difficult to solve. Life was just too hard. Everything's going to go wrong. I'm no good and it's all my fault. There were a lot of changes and things going on in my life that influenced the ultimate decision for me to end my life. A few of these were the deception of an immediate family member that impacted greatly on the feeling that I had failed not only as a mother, but as a daughter, a wife, an ex-wife, and a future wife. The selling and buying of real estate, it sounds so silly, but it was so impacting. I remember trying to unpack a box standing in the kitchen with my partner, also a member of the New South Wales Police Force, in the place of our dreams, yet I stood blankly staring at the contents for hours and could not even decide where to put a cup. That was a Saturday morning, and by Saturday night, laying in the bathtub, I had made my decision. My life was ahead of me, yet I'd lost my motivation and the ability to find enjoyment and pleasure in anything. Even with the man of my dreams in my life, my gorgeous children and the gifts of my grandchildren, each individual is different. Not everyone experiencing a mental health illness will show the typical signs and symptoms. Whilst to some looking back, I appeared a little out of sorts that previous week, no one saw it coming. I still functioned in a very high pressure job right up until the week beforehand, taking a week's leave from work to move house. However, I was pretty sure when I closed that office door that week that I would never return. I was found by my partner after 11 hours of a frantic search by him, his friends, my children, my ex-husband, and was found lifeless and without a pulse, declared dead at the scene with paperwork still in my possession that indicates this. It's pretty scary when you look at the paperwork and it says deceased in large letters that holds your car keys inside it. My partner was taken aside and they consoled him on his loss. However, some miracle, with so many people working on me, I and they didn't give up and they got a pulse. I then spent the next week in a coma and on life support. To this day, not one doctor has any idea how I woke up, but I did. My toes wiggled and my eyes flickered, and my partner and my children were called back in immediately. I spent the next 5 weeks with a nurse by my side 24/7 in Royal North Shore Hospital, whilst my face recovered, the wounds healed, and I learned to walk again. Transferring into a locked psych ward following this was not what I would wish upon anybody. However, this was the process. And then I was transferred into a private hospital for further rehabilitation, both physically and mentally. Finally, after 9 weeks, I came home, to my home that I'd only slept in for 3 days. But wow, wasn't that a wonderful thing? And do I feel blessed today? Damn right I do. Life is good. It always was, but I just couldn't see through the fog. So never underestimate the power of the mind, both negative and positive. And that you say, oh, my son, my mum, my dad, my lover would never do that. Because the reality is, I did. My mum did. She succeeded and her suicide was completed when I was 23. Did I ever think that I would put my children through that? Through the same trauma that I'd been through? No. But guess what? I did. And I only realised recently that my youngest of 4 children was also 23 at the time. The devastation my children, my partner and my friends have experienced because of my decision has and does affect them today as it does me. Suicide is recognised as a public health crisis both in Australia and around the world. It is the most common cause of death in Australians aged 15 to 44. Most common than deaths from motor vehicle accidents or skin cancer, and the 10th most common cause of death overall for Australian males. Research indicates that a large fraction of suicides can be prevented by early intervention. However, most people who suicide have had no contact with any health or social organisation that can assist them. Despite investment in suicide prevention activities and interventions in Australia, suicide and suicidal thoughts remain a leading health concern for people of all ages in Australia. Developing a robust, evidence-based, effective suicide prevention strategies will ultimately lead to better mental health outcomes for individuals at risk of suicide, their friends, families, and the wider community. Some of the suggestions from the Black Dog Institute to help someone are firstly to ask. Be supportive and ask, are you okay? Don't wait for the are you okay day. Ask them today. Just today. Ask the person beside you now. Turn and ask them if they are actually okay. Are you okay? And continue to listen to them. Take what they are saying seriously and let the person know that you care. Check their safety. If you are really worried about them, don't leave them alone. Get help. Encourage the person to seek help and follow up. Make sure that you check in on them. And the most important thing for everybody here today is to take care of yourself, because helping someone can be